Well, hello, groovy soul. Snow on the trail here, and I hope you're doing well. How's everyone doing out there today? I see that I've got 4 people that have tuned in so far, and 7. Oh my goodness! Look at everybody coming in. Wow, it's great to have everyone here. So, how you guys doing out there? 10. Oh my goodness, we're going up, up, and up. Hello, Lucy. It's good to see you. It's nice to have you here. How are things in your part of the world? So wow, we went all the way up to 10, now we're down to 3, but that's okay. I guess this is just kind of supposed to be a hangout, things like that. Just let you guys ask me questions. We can talk about the trail, talk about the journey. I just got a video out today that largely traced the path across Europe. It's not one to one. I kind of had to put it all together, but it's pretty close to the actual journey. I'd say about 99% accurate. I had to skip around in France because of flooding and things like that, so not as much pure cycling there, but the journey is the destination. It's all about like rolling along with the world there. As you can tell, I've got Wander Beast. I got Dawn Runner behind me. I'm the Wander Beast, and yeah, so it's exciting to be here. It's exciting to see everyone here. Um, Yep, and yeah, I've a lot of I happened to schedule my live stream the day of the No Kings rally in the United States because my timing just couldn't be better. I had no idea that was going on. Part of the fact that I'm over here in Europe, and yeah, so awesome. Oh, you're in North Wales. That's on my bucket list for when I head back to Europe, hopefully in 2027. So maybe I can stop by and say hello there, Lucy. That would be pretty rad. So yeah, it's been very rainy and cold here today in Sweden. So a lot of solidarity with you there, Jeff. Yesterday was just beautiful. The day winter reminded us that it's still a thing here. So yeah. So what do you guys want to talk about? What questions do you have? Let me know. Like we've been like talking in the comments for months. We've been kind of going back and forth, things like that. So, oh boy, Devon is like a memory. It's like a trauma memory. All right, just go up and up and up, and then you go down for a while, and then you get to the base of the hill after 5 or 10 minutes, thinking it's over, and there's more uphill. Yeah. Post-traumatic hill disorder, PTHD. And but there's always going to be another hill. There's always some kind of uphill, even when it's flat, it's uphill. I was reminded about that my last ride in Denmark before I got up here to base camp Moo. It it said it was flat on paper, but it was a constant little grind the whole way, and I was tired at the end of it. So oh, Devon is a sunny seaside place? Plymouth really is. Plymouth is beautiful. Portsmouth was beautiful. All of that, like southern English coastline, was just amazing to see. Very picturesque. Lots of like lighthouses, things like that. It was absolutely incredible to be in England while I was there. When I came over and I was checking in at customs in Harwich, the lady customs officer said, "Enjoy our terrible weather," as she stamped my passport, and she wasn't wrong. It was pretty rough going there. Hey there, Simon. It's great to have you here. You're just in time, buddy. I hope you're doing well. Um, how are things where you are today? I believe that you're another UK buddy. So, and yeah, cool. It's kind of awkward here. So, yeah, do you got your gin and tonic? I've got my sparkling water. So, I'm watching the chat really close so I can hear from you guys. but, Canada is coming up, 2 weeks from tomorrow. I should be at the, Copenhagen airport then, and from there, the hope is to head out across British Columbia, then Alberta, up into the Canadian Rockies, down into the plains of Alberta, then Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, Quebec, and then on towards the eastern provinces like New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, hopefully Nova Scotia. We're just going to have to see about times and how things work out. I've got 6 months, but if I get started in May or late April, which is what I'm hoping to do because of passes opening in the Cascades in Alberta, that would put me at the end of the journey around November, and that can be a kind of a cold time to be in some of those provinces. It's when the weather's really starting to head down into winter territory, and I do not do so well in the cold. My coldest day on trail was like -6 C, and I felt every bit of it. It was pretty humbling out that way. That was in the northern highlands of Spain, just out within the mountains south of Bilbao, and that was a pretty wild night because I woke up and everything is was covered in frost. Actually, I'm not too worried about wildlife. The biggest concern is ultimately going to be in Alberta and extreme eastern British Columbia because that's grizzly bear country. Um, there are likely going to be places where I have like bear mace when it's legal with me on the bike, just in case. But the instance of grizzly attacks are pretty low in general, and I have a lot of experience from the Pacific Crest Trail regarding wildlife and bear safety. I've got over in my mountain of gear behind me there by the bike what's called an ursack, which is a bear resistant bag that will literally tie around a tree at night. It's a Kevlar steel weave that they can't really get into. It's not 100% and it's not perfect, but if you're up on your prevention and on your tactics, you generally don't have to worry about wildlife. You have to be respectful of the fact that they're there. You don't want to just like go running around with a sausage around your neck or something like a cartoon. But that's the thing. A lot of bear attacks and other issues that people encounter on the trail are ultimately preventable because people will do things like they will eat exclusively in their tents, they will sleep with their food in their tents. And in fact, a recent survey done by the Trek, which is a through hiking blog that I did correspondence for when I was on the trail in 2021, found that even with all of the warnings and the cautionary tales, that most hikers on the Appalachian Trail, I believe it were still eating and sleeping with their food, and that's how you get into trouble. Now, I'll be honest. In Europe, I kept my food right near my tent. I did a lot of eating in my tent. I did on the Pacific Crest Trail too, but never in heavy bear areas. Like when I was asked to carry a bear canister, which happens somewhere around Tahoe. And then up there's like you actually have to carry a hardened bear vault or a bear canister because of bear encounters, mainly black bears on the Pacific Crest Trail. Uh, and then that's when I was being very careful. I was making sure that I was eating about 20 feet from my tent, and I made sure that the food was like up and tied to a tree at night, like real, real cautionary, type stuff. And that's how you avoid a problem. You guys want to hear a funny story about a bear? Um, my buddy, I believe her trail name was AWOL, and she was sleeping in distributed campsite just off trail with about 10 or 20 other hikers. It was just north of Lake Tahoe, and she had just resupplied in town that day, and she had a baguette in her pack that she forgot was there. She had been hiking all day, she was very tired, and so she decided to cowboy camp it, which is, not set up for tent or anything, and so she went to, sleep, and she used her backpack as a pillow, and she woke up in the middle of the night, and there was something warm and wet hitting her face, and her eyes opened, and there was a black bear ripping its way through her backpack, straddling over the top of her, trying to get at that baguette. She screamed. The bear absolutely freaked and ran off, and then everyone else hiking and camping around her woke up and started the clarion call of "Bear in camp! Bear in camp!" while she's screaming at the top of her lungs. And the next time I saw her, her bag was duct taped back together because the bear had ripped into it so savagely in the few seconds that it was there. But she did not get hurt. She she did not have any problems except for the minor heart failure. But it's a good reminder about being smart with your food and being wildlife aware and things like that. So shout out to my buddy AWOL if she ever sees this. I miss you, buddy. And yeah, so that's in short. I'm not worried, but I am aware. You know, so So yeah, and then after I get out of the Rocky Mountains and I head off into like Canada, like into the prairie lands, Saskatchewan, extreme eastern Alberta, there's not going to be a lot of wildlife concerns, but I'm still going to keep my ears up, as it were, and try to just be as aware as possible. One of the biggest issues that a lot of people have on trail with food and tents and things like that, especially if you're keeping your food in your tent, are rodents actually chewing their way through your tent walls to get at your food in the middle of the night. And that's a really easy way to destroy a $300 or $500 tent or more now. Dyneema has gotten so expensive. It's just crazy. So you know, it's interesting. Everybody always thinks about the bears. Everybody always thinks about the wolves. But in general, those animals are pretty reclusive and they don't generally seek people out unless they're really, really desperate. Mosquitoes are hell, but oh my gosh. Simon is asking if I suffer from mosquito bites or ticks. I haven't had a tick bite yet, fingers crossed. I use a chemical repellent nowadays called Picardin. It's much better than DEET because it's not as toxic, but it's highly effective and it generally keeps the mosquitoes off of me and the ticks off of me. When I'm in tick country or skeeter country, normally that's something I'm putting on multiple times a day. Um, but I encountered mosquitoes down on the Med here in Europe, and there's always a spot on the Pacific Crest Trail that we call mosquito hell. And like I've had so many mosquitoes, like one time I took off my gloves because I always wear cycling gloves or hiking gloves when I'm hiking. Very few people do that, but I do because I'm very careful about protecting my hands. Um, and I took off my gloves to get some water from a stream, and my hand just suddenly looked like it was crawling with mosquitoes. Kind of disgusting, but I mean, just they can be everywhere. Picardin, Picardin, I believe is the proper spelling there, Lucy. Sawyer makes some. There's a few European retailers too that sell it. It's a lot less toxic than DEET and it's less destructive than DEET. A lot of people don't know this, but 100% DEET will melt through plastic like it's on fire. It's pretty crazy. I damaged a pair of glasses that I had because I got some DEET on them and it actually melted partially the arm on the side. Pretty wild. So yeah. definitely recommend Picardin. Lots of people are using it now. I also carry like tick first aid, like a tick key is what it's called. It's something that's designed to back the tick out without leaving any of the tick behind inside. And it's a lot better, more effective, and easier than just pulling the tick. You run it along your arm or wherever the tick is, and there's a channel that narrows around the tick, and then you just keep going in the direction of that, and it'll slowly lift the tick out. How do I keep healthy when traveling? Well, my diet's not always the best. I'll be the first person to tell you that. I've been going for the crackers today, pretty hardcore. But the thing is that food for me is often more a thing about utility. I'm a vegan, so like I don't eat meat or eggs or anything like that. It's just something that's been a very important thing to me for the last 18 years of my life. And so like generally what I'm doing every day is I'm living off of staples like muesli and peanut butter and whole grain, minimally processed breads. I like things like raw bite bars because they're like simple ingredients. They don't have a lot of additives, and it's like fruit and nuts. I eat a lot of pumpkin seeds because seeds have a lot of magnesium, which is good for the muscles and keeps the cramping down at night. Which country has the best vegan food? You might be surprised if I tell you. But I had a lot of really good luck in England, and I've had a lot of really good luck in Sweden. And the reason why I've had really good luck in England was all of the shops that have curry. The curries in England were absolutely incredible, and London had some absolutely amazing restaurants that I really enjoyed visiting. I also found some really good spots in Birmingham while I was there and down in Plymouth. In fact, my buddies Stewie and Eleanor down in Plymouth, they took me to some absolutely incredible places. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because there's a running joke about England, right? That the food is bad in England, that England has the worst food in the world. Honestly, England was pretty incredible. France was, of course, like there, I had some really good food in France, but France was one of the hardest places in Europe to be vegan. There wasn't a lot of things that were labeled clearly, so I had to do a lot of label reading, which meant translating because, of course, the labels aren't in English. So it's like, what is this? All right, Google Translate, use the lens and pops it up on the screen. And that was honestly my salvation because you just have to, be careful or you get something that doesn't agree with you. Um, it's been so long since I've done milk or eggs or whatever, I have a bad reaction to it if I get exposed to it. Not be near it, but like if I accidentally get something with milk or eggs in it, I generally have a kind of a bad time. I'm just gonna leave that there. It was hard to find good coffee in Spain because I try to do like the ethically sourced stuff. So like, and I'm often on instant when I'm traveling. It was very hard to find anything fair trade, direct trade in terms of instant coffee in Spain. Germany had a lot of good options. They also had vegan soft pretzels that were absolutely incredible. So you're asking me how I stay healthy on the road. I am a carb queen. I eat lots of carbs, and but I also I try to get vegetables wherever I can. I try to I'll stop in for resupply and I'll get an apple and a banana. I'll have some fruit. I take my multivitamins, stuff like that. Yeah, I'm pretty focused on ethical consumption. I'm very down on brands like Nestle. Like I'll avoid just about anything Nestle like the plague because of Nestle's global reputation as as a company. But yeah, right here, bud. Vegan, B12, and everything else. Multivitamin every morning. Also, make sure I focus on vitamin D3. That's another big one. Omega 3, stuff like that. Um, I've been doing like hardcore athletic training and stuff for years and years. I ran my first marathon last year in Toronto, the Toronto Marathon. I didn't set any speed records there, but it was, I was very proud to complete it within, regulation time, and it was an amazing journey. I switched to cycling because I was visiting Dublin for the first time, and I was out on a long run, and I fell, and I injured my knee quite badly, and there was no running. And so my friend was like, "Well, you could rent a bicycle." And I said, "Well, I haven't really ridden a bicycle since I've been, a kid." So I did. And I was like, "Oh, wow, this is something I can do. I can move real fast. It's real easy to get around. I'm going to look into doing this." And then I started to find stuff about bike packing. And I was like, "Oh boy," because, when I was hiking, I'd be lucky to cover between 25 and 30 miles in a day, and I had like 50 pounds on my back, 45 pounds on my back, about 20 kilos. And then, uh, and on the cycle, I can cover up to 75 so far. So that's, amazing. I can cover a lot of ground. It's easier to get into resupply. It's not so hard on the body. Um, Worst roads or potholes? Well, depends on where I'm at. The UK was very challenging. The UK generally had the least amount of bicycle infrastructure in between their cities. The Netherlands had, was the best in terms of bicycle infrastructure and just stuff in general. The Netherlands was absolutely incredible. The UK did this thing with the what I called the amazing disappearing bike lane. I'd be riding along like Birmingham or London, and it's like bike lane, bike lane, bike lane, everything good, and then suddenly the bike lane is just gone. And where is it? And so now I'm riding on the side of the road, which is fine. It's something I've done a lot. You get used to it. And then suddenly the bike lane is on the other side of the road. Crosswalks a half a block that way. Where did that come from? And so get on the other side of the road, go down a few blocks, bike lane suddenly disappears. Look across the street, no bike lane. Okay, well, let's cross the street, and because we go with the flow of traffic, and let's ride along again. Wash, rinse, repeat. Though I'll be honest with you, Hamburg in Germany and some parts of Cologne, really bad potholes. I was on a massive downhill into Hamburg. No, it was Cologne, I think. It's confused in the brain. I was on a massive downhill into there. I was doing like 20, 25 miles an hour, about that's close to 40, 50 kilometers per hour on the bike. Went around the speed bump, and suddenly there was a pit posing as a pothole. And I felt, just the brief moment of panic, but it was brief because I had to react, and I just kind of I leaned a little bit and did a real quick maneuver, more instinctual than anything, and I just rimmed right around the lip of this hole that would have probably flipped me pretty bad. So, um, what's it called? Spain had some really challenging roads. Yeah, you guys probably remember that one time where I was going up a utility corridor road, and then I ultimately couldn't get there anymore, and I made a little video about the foam spinning on the water, a little consolation prize for myself after pushing the bike uphill for an hour. But it's been really interesting being in Europe because, as you guys know, I'm an American, and the thing is like the American things that you hear about Europe kind of float in the back of your brain, and they're almost universally incorrect. Germans are amazingly kind. The French are incredibly welcoming. England has amazing food. You know, Well, and oh, mental health. I meditate. I make sure I get plenty of activity doing my writing. Um, I live an amazing life, Simon, of encounter. I am an incredibly lucky person because of how I live and what I'm able to do. And that's the thing. It's like every day, my life when I'm not here in base camp is warm up, pack up, eat up, and roll. And because of that, there's not a lot of time for me to be lost in the news all day long. There's not a lot of time for me to worry about the things that I can't control in the world. I've got my immediate concerns are my entire world while I'm riding, like not getting hit by the car, like finding where the bike lane went, like, where am I going to stay for the night, stuff like that. And that can be very empowering because every problem in front of me is a problem I know how to face. Now, when I stop for the night or something like that, I'll like check up on the news. I'll look at what's going on. I'll check in with my comments from you guys and stuff like that. And so the world can kind of intrude in then a little bit. But predominantly, my world has like built in mindfulness, like built in staying in the moment. And I see beautiful things every day all the time. The rolling hills of Sweden, the forests in, Dartmoor, the green wineries of and vineyards of France, the beautiful mountains in the Basque country. It's amazing the world that we live in, and it's an incredible antidote to the troubles of our time because, yeah, like there's a lot of wars and strife, and there's general ugliness going on right now, but there's also beauty and hope and good people and kindness. It's just finding it and focusing on it. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so grateful for you, Simon, and you, Lucy, and Jeff, and all of the people that are always showing up, that are always encouraging me. My channel is small. I have 134 subscribers as of today. We've gained 20 subscribers in the last like 20 days or something. It's pretty awesome. Like my numbers are going up. But you guys here on the ground floor with me, I've got this privilege of interacting with you, and it keeps me going when I get the little notification on my phone while I'm riding. It's like, oh, there's Lucy. Oh, there's Simon. Well, that's awesome. And I mean, like, and I'm glad you're out of the hospital. I'm glad you're feeling better. I mean, people like you, Simon, and I mean, not to, try to, make a big thing of it, or I guess whatever, or put you on the spot, rather. You inspire me because every day you are fighting an incredible battle that most people never see. And you keep fighting and you keep trying and you keep showing up. And that, my friend, is the definition of bravery and courage. And so, thank you for being an example to me of persevering through challenge and in times of struggle. And please keep doing it. Don't give up, buddy. We're all here with you. We're a community. We're a small community, but we're a community all the same. And we're building something together. So yeah, but like keep on rocking. You're doing amazing. And I'm glad that I can have some small part in helping you to continue going, you know? Seriously, whatever I can do. No, Siri, I was not talking to you, bud. Let's see here. There we go. She's very eager, Siri. Oh, I set her off again. Stop, stop. But, uh, but yeah. So You know, yeah, the hair tribe. Yes, indeed. It's a hair-raising experience, Dutch. Thank you. I'll be here all week. But, you know, and it's great to have you guys here at the beginning. You know, just to have you guys a part of all of it, to have you like cheering for me and rooting me on. Like I said, I can't even put it into words how much it means that you're all here, and you're all here. Um, okay, I'm gonna stop with the puns now before YouTube comes after me with a stick. But so let me turn some questions around on you. What are you looking forward to most about Canada? What do you guys want to see? What would you like to see more of? Because you know, I show up every day. I'm gonna try to make sure that oh, hi. Hey, Naomi. How you doing, bud? It's good to have you here. It's awesome that you're here to join the stream. I talk to her a lot on Counter Social, which is an awesome social media platform where I've met a lot of really cool people, and I feel really cool. I feel really lucky to be there. But back to the question, what do you guys want to see more of from me? What can I do better? Because I'm not exactly a natural at this. Like, I'm still learning, like, you know, how to make it appealing and interesting. Um, what's it called? Oh, the views in the wonderful country. Yeah, I absolutely will keep doing that. I'm limited to about like 25 or 30 videos for per short. I've been experimenting with posting pictures on a website called Pixel Fed, but I could also like share the stills in the community page every day if you would enjoy that. It doesn't take me any time at all to like post the pictures to the community page, and then you wouldn't have the music there. I mean, you would have it in the highlight reel, but you could actually sit there, look at them, download them, things like that. I might be able to include some more shots that way too. Um, yeah, you're the one that gave me that idea, Lucy, because I was like, you know, I don't know if people be interested in the people they meet. And then you were talking about that, and I made that my mission. And so now when I do meet someone, I ask, can I take your picture and can I post it? I'll make you famous, is what I'll tell people. And sometimes like, oh, no, 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 no. And other people are like, yeah, sure. And so that's why, you know, I believe his name was Paul on the ferry across the Rhine. And then, like, I had my cycle buddies in France and Paris that helped me with the rear brake. Hi, if you're watching. Um, you know, so, and I'm real happy to bring the people to you because the people have really made the journey for me. Uh, Well, yeah, and like, the only me I know how to be is me, Naomi, honestly. So I don't know if I could be unauthentic, knock wood, that will never be a concern for me, but that's all I want to show you guys is, my honest perspective on the world. I think that's important and valid. And that's one of the reasons why I enjoy your comments so much, is because I get to see how you guys are responding to the journey. And it helps me learn and grow, and it helps me consider things I never have before. There's a real beauty to the exchange of things. There's real beauty in connection because it's fractal in a way. You could even call it mutagenic. It inevitably leads to change and discovery, and I think that's quite beautiful. Group hug, yeah, all down for group hugs, guys. Always down for a hug. Um, when I get back to Europe in 2027, I'm hoping they'll be able to visit a lot of you guys that have been here. As I go across Canada, I'm planning on visiting people that I've been corresponding with and connecting with along the way. And so my route across Canada is going to be a little bit wild because I'm going to start on Vancouver Island, And Vancouver Island is amazing because we've got non-tropical rainforests, we've got mountains, we've got the Pacific Ocean, all of that. And then I'm going to be heading on the ferry to the Vancouver City mainland and then heading out east. And I'm going to be staying with a buddy that I've been corresponding with for about a year in the Cascades. Then it's off to Alberta to see a friend of mine who is a scientist in Edmonton. And then we're just going to keep on heading east and meeting with people along the way. A friend of mine has something like 50 acres on Prince Edward Island, and he's okay with me wandering around his property and camping there. So I'm excited to go there. And Liverpool, Simon, really twist my arm. I want to go to Liverpool. I want to go to Wales. I want to go to Scotland. The UK will let me stay for up to 6 months. And so what I've been thinking about doing really seriously is tracing the coast, like literally starting somewhere in the UK, probably Birmingham, and then like making my way out towards Wales and picking up the coastline and then just tracing all the way up to Scotland and then all the way down towards, Portsmouth and Torquay and Plymouth and Land's End, all the way up to John Groat, all that fun stuff, and just literally tracing the entirety of the Three Kingdoms there on the island of Britain, Wales, Scotland, and England. And I think that would be an amazing journey. One of the places I wanted to go to, but I didn't get a chance to while I was there, was Melangels Parish in Wales. Saint Melangel is the patron saint of rabbits and hares. And so I wanted to go to the bunny church. And I was only like 80 miles away, but it just didn't work out with weather and health and all of that. So next time though, I'm not going to let it stop me. I'm hoping that I'll be there in like the height of summer, which is an absolutely beautiful time to be on the island. And Hollywell, well, sure. Um, I'm trying to follow the chat here. So it's like if I suddenly derail, it's like, oh, getting caught up just up the road. Cool, cool. I'm on Wirral. It's actually Millengell Church, and it's in Millengell Wells, I believe is where it is. Let me see. Let me Google this real quick. St. Millengell Parish. Mellangel, the Little Nun, Welsh Hermit and Abbess, Kingdom of Powys, and Pennant Mellangel. It's about 80 miles from Birmingham. There we go. I just posted it there. And it's just this beautiful country church. And what's really interesting is that excavations done on the site have shown evidence of a pagan holy site going back even earlier, which was actually very common in early Christianity. They liked to build over pagan holy sites mainly because it got the people to kind of move over to Christianity. It was part of the cultural conversion that happened in the 600s and 700s in England. So really fascinating bit of history there. And yep, holy wells. Yes, holy wells were very Celtic things. Some of the biggest archaeological finds that are Celtic have been dated from the excavating of holy whales, actually going down into the water and pulling stuff out. The Celts liked to drop silver into holy wells, and a lot of people believe that one of the reasons why holy wells gained their restorative properties is because silver is an antibacterial and antiviral metal. So people would start drinking the water from these holy wells when they got sick, and it had a little bit of antibacterial and antiviral effect, and they got a little healthier. Probably not 100%, it's not like an antibiotic, but it's a lot better than nothing. And my sister was there. Very cool stuff. So I mean, like, I'm gonna have lots of people to see, lots of people to visit with when they get there. Um, and then the hope is to go down once again to Spain, go see Portugal, then continue on to Italy and Greece, and then into parts of Eastern Europe. I want to see Poland very badly. If it's safe, I'd like to go like near Hungary, but not into Hungary because I understand the government's not the best there right now. Hopefully in the future, I understand that things might be changing there soon. I think it'd be really fascinating to see Romania. Um, these are places that, from my North American perspective, you don't hear about as much except historically. I want to see Prague in Czechia very badly because Prague is a city that escaped a lot of the worst effects of World War One and World War Two, and so it's very old world European city, very, castles and stone buildings and just absolutely gorgeous stuff. It was really wild being in Hamburg because there's a memorial in Hamburg where a cathedral got hit in the Blitz during World War II, and you can still see the black marks reaching up the tower, which is about what's left. Do I have a dream? Yeah, my dream is to keep doing this, to find a way to make it self-supporting and just to keep traveling until I can't, until I'm in my 70s or 80s. I have met bikepackers that are in their late 60s, early 70s, and my big dream is this, to keep writing my novels, to keep roaming on trails, to keep talking with you guys and just seeing the world, living a life of both service and encounter. Um, One of the reasons why I did a lot of traveling for years, just hopping around on airplanes and trains and buses and stuff, is like people would need help moving, but they weren't in a financial position to do it. And so I go in and I just help them move. I would go and like help people with surgical recoveries and things like that because I have training as a nurse's aide and other things. And and it's something I love to do. I love to be of service. I love to help. I'm not trying to brag or anything, but just as I travel, as I wander, I occasionally find a way that I can help, a way that I can be of service, just wandering from place to place. And that's the thing. It's like I just I'm never happy sitting still. I've been here in base camp for 2 weeks, and I've definitely needed the downtime. I was feeling sore and tired when I got into Copenhagen because I'd just been going so hard for months. But after about 2 or 3 days, I immediately started looking to go out again. It's just a part of me. And so my dream is a lot like yours, Simon. I want to be happy, and this is what makes me happy. This is what makes me feel fulfilled. And a big part of it is sharing it with you guys. That's something I've discovered. Um, I show up every day and I hopefully give you guys something to think about or give you guys a little bit of hope, and then hopefully that goes out in the world and and then it's like ripples on a pond. The smallest stone thrown into a pond creates a ripple that'll touch all the banks. And to me, every video is me throwing a stone into the pond, watching the ripples. watching it go. And so one day, I'm probably going to be too old to do this anymore, and I'm going to have the memories of live streams with you guys, of sunrises in places where a lot of people will never see. Moments on the Mediterranean with new friends and having coffee with a bike-packing messenger collective and Cologne that I just happened to meet, and that's to me the definition of a life well lived, where you have so many memories. Now you're never lonely when you're old. I think that's a very beautiful way of living the life that you're given. Uh, well, exactly. If I'm ever in a wheelchair, because I just wore this whole body out, well, guess what? They got wheels. We can electrify it. I can go from bike packing to that. Just like keep going. Oh yes, the Tango. I was looking for a place to stay, and trying to because like 2 days after my chain, well, the day that my chain broke. Okay, story. I have been pushing hard all day uphill into Belgium. It was really rough stuff, like really rough stuff. And I had just resupplied. I was heading out to camp for the night, and what's it called? And my chain shattered. And I tried to put it back together, got out the chain breaker, all of that, and I was so exhausted and tired, and I couldn't get it back together, and then it broke in the second place, and I'm like, "Well, I'm just done." And so I went and I found a place to stay. It was like 2.5 miles away, so I'm walking the bike there. My husband calls me, and he tells me, "I just lost my job." And so 2 days after that, when I was finally able to get the bike to a bike shop and get that fixed, I was looking for an inexpensive place to stay for the night, and I ended up being welcomed into, an ecological commune in Belgium that was hosting a what's called Weaver's Workshop, which was like a meeting of the minds, across disciplines, teachers, doctors, physicists, all of that, and just to like be intersectional with knowledge, like this genre and this genre of learning don't generally interact. What can we learn from each other? And they invited me to their evening circle. This one was about the applications of psychedelics in medicine, which is interesting. But that was what the Weaver workshop was about. But one of the evening things after circle was learning the tango, because that's my life. Sometimes you end up in an ecological commune in the Wallonia region of Belgium, and you're hanging out with a bunch of academics learning about psychedelics, and they want to learn how to tango, because that's just my life. It seems like something out of a novel, but it's my life. So there you go. No, nobody was doing drugs there. In fact, it seemed like that was like it was mainly about the growing bodies of research into how things like ketamine and like psilocybin and stuff like that can be used in a therapeutic setting for PTSD and anxiety and depression and stuff like that. Nobody was like tuning in and dropping out, as Timothy Leary said. There was nobody like, talking with God in the corner while I was there. But there were a lot of people across disciplines that were talking about, how do we make this legal? Like there were people from the EU government that were like, sub administrators and stuff that were there that were like, what's the pathway to legality here? What's the pathway to like, how do we regulate this? How do we make sure that it's safe for people? And apparently that's what Weaver groups are. They're like a bunch of people that come together and they talk about these things across disciplines, where art meets science meets physics. Really cool stuff. And I just happened to fall in with them, and they're like, "Oh, you're a bike packer? You're traveling the world by cycle? Oh, by all means, let's, well, you gotta come to our circle. We're all having a group dinner together. Oh, you're vegan? Oh, yeah, well, we do vegan stuff too. Here's vegan food over here." Really awesome group of folks. Really awesome group of folks. And then that next morning, one of the owners of the commune, he took me out into the woods, and there was a Buddha there that some monks had brought from India, and I got to bow before the Buddha and say Namo Shakyamuni Buddhaya. I honor the one of the Sakyamuni clan, the Buddha, which is a traditional chant, and that was very special for me. You can actually see that in the highlight reel from that day. Um, it was actually that night that the chain broke on the bike, and I had those issues. So kind of ironic, but that's another thing about the road. There's good and there's bad, and it's all about just getting through it. You know, um, shame, huh? I don't know how I do on those things. I really don't. My life is a little bit wild as it is, Lucy. That would be a live stream, wouldn't it? Hello, still on the trail here, broadcasting from the eighth dimension. Oh, so yeah, wow, we've been here almost an hour already, so that's pretty incredible. You guys want to keep going? You want to keep talking? I'm happy to, you know. Oh, I bet. Um, believe it or not, Simon, I actually worked for a year in an acute care psychiatric hospital in the United States, and I got to watch people go on their own journeys of recovery. Um, yeah, and it's really interesting that you frame it that way, because it ended up being that kind of opportunity. The place I ended up staying was one of the only vegan bed and breakfasts in all of Belgium. That was my first 2 days. I didn't even know that when I booked it. But they made sure to bring me a nice big breakfast every morning that I really appreciated. And then the reason why it took me 2 days to get fixed was that the nearest bike shop was on vacation, and the nice gentleman that was hosting me at that bed and breakfast was actually giving me a ride. We actually took my bike apart and shoved it in the back of his Mercedes, and first time riding in a Mercedes, which was pretty cool. And we got out there, and then I went to the commune because the bed and breakfast was nice, but it was expensive. You know. Oh my goodness! And wasn't it like setting temperature records a couple like a week ago there, eh, Jeff? You know. But yeah, every setback that I've had on the road has become an opportunity. I think about, I got into Cologne, and it was like I couldn't get the bike to push right. I was just, and then it started making this terrible grinding noise on the back wheel. And so I limped it into Hamburg, and I got to, where I was staying there. And I went to my first bike shop, and his name is Oliver. He came out there just like 10 minutes before they opened, because I was waiting, because I know the bike shops get busy. And he lit up a cigarette, and he just started talking to me, and he was the nicest guy in the world. And then he apologized, and he said, "We don't have room. The season just started 2 days ago, and we're booked up solid for a week. But go to my buddy. He opens at 11, and he can probably fit you in. And if you need any like materials for a wheel rebuild, we've got them here." I said, "Okay, that's no problem." And I went to his buddy at 11, and he took the wheel, and he was able to shake the wheel in the frame, which means the hub is shot. And he's like, "Yes." He's like, "Your hub is for shit," which seemed like the most German thing in the world to say. And hey, Starflyer, it's great to have you here, bud. another like long-term buddy of mine from Texas. Good to see you here. But he said, I would love to help you. I would love to help you because your hub, it's for shit. But I'm too busy. And so he recommended me to Red Fever, which is this huge cycle store in Cologne. And I went over there and they said, we got 40 people in front of you, but we'll do what we can. And he said, "You're traveling?" I said, "Yeah, I'm living out of a hostel down the street right now, bud." And they bumped 40 people and they got me in and they gave me a real big discount on the wheel build. And so I let them take the camera around and talk about everything they did for a highlight reel. And then I went back to say thank you to Oliver because he started me on the journey. Oliver sent me to the guy down the street, and the guy down the street, he didn't want his picture taken, by the way. He sent me to Red Fever. And they were all so incredible, all so nice. So I went to Oliver and just wanted to say thank you to him. And he shook my hand and he introduced me to this guy that had stopped by, and he was a messenger in a bike collective there. They ran a lot of stuff for medical businesses in Cologne. And so I ended up at their kind of like hangout spot, and we were all drinking coffee together and sharing stories from the road. And it was pretty incredible. Oh, hi, Mom. Oh my goodness. Well, let me tell you, Mom, how my mom and dad have supported me. And this Karen Nicolay is my mom down there. So please say hi to my mom, guys. Um, and hi, Dad. He's probably watching in the chair next to Mom in the living room. What's it called? When I got into the toxic mold exposure in Oxford and my sleeping quilt got destroyed, my mom found my Ko-Fi and sent me a very nice donation that helped me buy the mummy bag I have now that got me through the winter here in Europe. Um, my parents um, have supported me my entire life. Um, I have always been a somewhat unique and unusual child and undaunted. They never did anything but support and love me and care about me. And so they are probably one of the biggest reasons why I'm out here chasing my dreams because they um, consistently push me to chase them. Oh, what was I like as a child? You guys wanted to hear about the time I got stabbed? I'm waiting. Dramatic pause. I bet my mom is cringing right now in the living room. I'm going to get a phone call later. Uh-huh. So I was a very hyperactive child. As you guys know, I have attention deficit. Oh, shiny. Um, and it was very pronounced when I was a kid. Absolutely. I was one of those kids that would rampage through the house and I would, oh, Mom, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, but I've got to. I've got to. It's for the fans, Mom. It's for the fans. But um, I was kind of a wild child. There were times where I was a real discipline problem. I'll be honest. I was not a perfect kid growing up. And the thing is that my parents loved me anyway, and they didn't drown me, which is just absolutely rad. But one time I was rampaging through the house, and I think my mom was in the kitchen unloading the dishwasher, and I think she was listening to music. So, and it was pretty normal to hear me like thump, 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 just moving through the house. And I ran up behind her and I startled her, and she swung around just as she was unloading all the knives from the dishwasher, and I ran right into her. And she turned pale, and the silverware clattered to the floor. And then the drama really started because I got a little bit hurt. It wasn't serious. I didn't need to transport or anything. My father was a police officer at the time. My mom, completely traumatized, grabs the phone. This is before cell phones, right? I'm from the old days. She calls police dispatch and says, "Tell Ron I just killed our child." And the next thing I know, I can hear sirens and the sound of a Suburban doing a J-turn around, and my dad comes running into the house. "Karen, what the heck?" And of course, it looks pretty rough, because, I took an impact to the chest. And, but like nothing, like I said, that needed transport. I got butterflied up. My mom is the most traumatized person out of all of this. And I'm comforting mom. "It's okay. It's okay. It's okay." After that, I went to camp for a while. Mama needed a vacation. Sorry about that, mom. I love you. So I could be a challenging child, but as Thich Nhat Hanh says, "No mud, no lotus." It's from the compost of our challenges that the flowers of our experiences grow. And I made quite a bit of compost as a child, as it turns out. Yes, my mother is a saint. She should be considered for sainthood. Probably my dad too, but I don't think that my dad would agree that he's that much of a saint, but that's neither here nor there. My parents are absolutely incredible. And when I get the phone call later on, just you guys know that I did my best. Uh, From the ashes of disaster grow the roses of success. That's an excellent way to put it there, Starflyer. That is an excellent way of putting it. So yeah, that's a pretty good snapshot of what I was like as a child. Rambunctious, hard to contain, always on the go. Um, Believe it or not, I was very overweight for a good portion of my childhood up until I was about like 28 or 30 years old. When I was 21, I was 370 pounds. And I did a lot of things like stress eating and a lot of stuff like that. And you know, I had to go through a lot of healing to the point where I started taking better care of myself and found that I really did have a love for running and wandering and cycling and things like that. And so I got the weight off and did the Pacific Crest Trail, and now I've crossed Europe, and I'm like absolute evidence that life can change for the better, that people can grow, that challenges can be overcome. There are a lot of people that have had it a lot worse than me. I'll be the first person to tell you that. But I've overcome a lot in my life too, and I'm proud of that. You know, um, Other people's accomplishments and challenges don't invalidate your own. Everybody is fighting something. Um, my parents were struggling with a lot when I was growing up because of me. Like I said, I was a rambunctious child, to say the least. But they were really good parents, and I'm really lucky. And I'm very, very lucky. So yeah, I love you, mom and dad. Um, if you're looking at getting like something like a touring bike, Surly, Genesis. If you've got a lot of money, I believe it's a Tonga World Traveler. Um, yeah, took everything apart and put it back together to see how it worked. Stopped at every history monument on the road. Yeah, yeah, that was me. I took apart so many coasters. I took apart live sockets at time. Yes, exactly. Everybody's fight is unique, and it's taking the lessons from our challenges, Jeff, that I feel that help us show up for others. You know, um, because what I go through has uniquely prepared me to be present and in the moment. You know, Um, but yeah, I gave my parents many opportunities to practice, as we say in Buddhism growing up. Oh, man. Oh, REI bikes, yeah. But like I said, if you're really looking for a good touring bike, I would highly recommend either Surly or Genesis. Look into keeping with at least a two by, which is two gears in the front, preferably three. But three gears in is getting a lot rarer in the West. Um, you do not want to do anything with like electronic shifting, because if those things break out there in the wilds, you're kind of in trouble. But just seriously, like rock solid, like 2 by 10, 2 by 12, 3 by 9, 3 by 10, if you can find it. I don't know if they ever did a 3 by 10, but that would be awesome. Um, and make sure you've got lots of attachment points, things like that. You won't have any problem with that with like a Surly or a Genesis. Um, absolutely, absolutely. Avoid aluminum frames and carbon fiber frames. They will break under loads. Um, Steel absolutely is important there. I'll have a barbecue. I'm down. I got some barbecue tofu recipes that would absolutely knock your socks off. You can grill the steaks, Simon, if you want to. Um, oh wow, it's neat to see you guys like all here talking. I'm just absolutely loving this. Loving this. So what should we talk about next? We've covered my sometimes fracas childhood. We've talked a little bit about Canada. What do you guys want to know? I'm right here. I've got my sparkling water. Hey, vegan barbecue is a total thing and it is valid. And I will fight you, Jeff. I will fight. With hugs and with love. Seriously. Oh, yes. My first novel is called Dawnbreak. It's available on Amazon in both paperback and in digital in Kindle format. I've written 23 novels. 7 have been published. I was traditionally published by a small publishing outfit in 2013. My goodness, 13 years ago. And it honestly didn't go well. The publisher didn't end up being a very good fit for me. I got very discouraged when I wrote a bunch of books, but I didn't put them out through that publishing company. I had a long conversation with them. I asked for my rights back, and they ultimately gave me my rights back. I repackaged everything and I launched my own publishing studio in 2017 called Studio Prey Productions, the website of which is now down, but it still exists as a publishing company. And I started doing what would be called self publishing through Amazon. Dawnbreak started, Dawnbreak was a bestseller and in its science fiction category on Amazon for almost 3 weeks, and it's something I'm immensely proud of. Um, I'm still trying to keep going with my writing, but it's been a while because I didn't bring my laptop with me when I was traveling this last time. I will be across Canada. I got a case for it. All of that. Let's see here. But yes, my pen name, I'm going to write it out, is basically what is my maiden name, and that is Rebecca Mickley, Mickley. And yes, Jack Cruz, good. How did you find your traveling boots? Merrell's are amazing, Simon. Merrell has a vegan line, and so basically, when I've needed stuff here in Europe, because supply is sometimes harder to get, especially vegan gear is harder to get. I go in, I look for Merrell's, I look for the V on the tongue next to the sizing, and it's absolutely foolproof that way. And the last time I got Merrill Speed Strikes in Hamburg at the Globetrotter, as they call it, the Globetrotter. And I'm really excited because those should serve me well going forward into Canada. Um, Other than that, lots of brands like Topo Designs, they're almost 100% vegan. Hoka is almost has a lot of vegan uh, lines as well. Although I don't recommend Hoka anymore because I found out that they were the name Hoka and a lot of the names for their shoes they took from Maori traditions without Maori permission. And it's been like a really big thing going on because like they took the names of some of their like holy words and stuff and put it on shoes, and that just didn't sit right with me. But also Brooks, which is an English company, I believe, also does a lot of vegan footwear. So, it's just basically a matter of knowing the industry and knowing what to look for and how to look. And that's a lot of what, like, being vegan or vegetarian is just like, oh, this is another word for animal products, stuff like that. Is there a passion I have not achieved at this moment? Oh, yes, Simon, absolutely. Number one, I haven't traveled across the entire world yet, and that's something I really want to do. I haven't gotten all of my books out that I've written published yet. Also, there are some things I don't know how I will ever achieve, but I want to achieve them. Like I want to go to Antarctica very badly. I would love to do something like bikepacking in Antarctica. I would enjoy that very, very much. Um, what other passions have I not achieved? I know that they exist. What's it called? Just, reaching more people, getting to a point where I didn't have to, where like this is all I would ever have to do. Just like, there's, being able to just keep rolling without ever stopping. Resupply will be extremely difficult in Antarctica. Oh, absolutely. I was actually hanging out with Starflyer last night. He's one of my oldest friends, a really grad soul. And I was showing him a video from the Dempster Highway, which is up in Canada that goes up towards the Arctic Circle. And like we're talking like 400 or 500 kilometers between resupplies and stuff. And I'm like trying to work out the logistics about how to do this on a bicycle. And I'm like, I need a trailer. I need to haul like, probably an extra 20 pounds of food. I could totally do it though, but I need to get that dang trailer. And then I'm looking at bike trailers. Like I'm going to go do this now. But once again, ADHD, and it's like, oh, I'm hyper focused on this. I'm going to work out all of these logistics right now. And this is how I ended up with panniers on my bicycle crossing Europe, but I digress. But, you know, what I found is that there is no such thing as an unachievable logistical hurdle. Simon, it was great to have you here. Please keep reaching out. Be well, buddy. It was awesome to have you visit. We've been going for an hour and 15 minutes. So I like understand if people are like, good Lord, like, let's chill out. But anyway, thank you for joining me. And we'll see you out there, bud. We'll see you out there. Guys, I'm still here as long as there's interest. Um, whatever you guys want to talk about. What you can do mostly dry food. Yes, exactly. I always carry, even in Europe, and I never used it, but I always carry a Sawyer Squeeze water filter with a Sanok, which I believe is a Gaelic or Welsh word for hill, um, water bag. And so I just like hang it up with dirty water in it, and it drains through. Take care of everything but viruses. Luckily, in Europe, And in America, in Canada, I generally don't have to worry about viruses in water, so that's all I need. When I was on the Pacific Crest Trail, my father, who after being a police officer became a nurse, he begged me to carry chemical treatment on top of everything. And so I did two-stage water purification. I would filter through my Sawyer, and then I would add Aquamira drops. Wait 10 or 15 minutes, and it was absolutely perfect every time. So it worked out. It worked out really well. And I'll just keep that going. I know I'll be filtering water in Canada because there's like parts of Canada that is just great big empty. Um, Canada is almost as large as the United States, but Canada has 40 million people, I believe, maybe 30 million that live in all of Canada, and the United States has over 350 million people. So we're talking about matters of scale when we're talking about Great Big Empty. There are going to be places in British Columbia and out there in like, Alberta and points east where there's just not going to be anything at all. Most of Canada, as I understand it, lives in like their major city areas, but also pretty much the Golden Horseshoe, which is like Toronto, Port Colborne, St. Kitts, um, Niagara Falls, that area, and like Ottawa, Montreal, stuff like that. It's pretty incredible. Like most of the population lives below what's called the Canadian Shale, below this certain latitude that goes across the map. Because it's cold and the ground is not very conducive towards supporting a lot of crops. Unless you're talking like Saskatchewan, which is the Canadian breadbasket. So really fascinating stuff. I'm looking forward to being there. I'm looking forward to spending another 6 months in Canada. I absolutely loved it there the last time I was there. Toronto is an incredible town. St. Catharines, which is a tiny suburb about an hour and a half from Toronto, it's an incredible town. Niagara Falls is very touristy, but it's pretty incredible to see. My husband and I went behind the waterfall, um, and it was absolutely incredible. The force of nature that was there, um, just amazing. And now I'm going to be able to bring that to you guys. So seems like we're settling down a little bit here, so I figure let's give it another 10 minutes, give you guys plenty of time to like check in, send me questions, stuff like that, and then we'll probably call it there unless, and we're just trying to play it by ear. My hope is that going forward, I'll be able to do live streams from the road as I have signal, especially when I'm in Canada, because I'll be able to use my American-based cell phone plan. It has like a roaming agreement where they don't like want to push me into bankruptcy, which is rad. But also that means like I have access to things like 5G. So I should be able to tether off on my laptop and come to you guys a couple times a month, maybe. Oftentimes probably from a tent when I have the signal. Um, Carrying and drinking just water bottles, water bladder, and the shoulder straw. I use primarily water bottles because I'm on the bike. Let me see here. Where is it? Yeah, here we go. Just a second, guys. This is just Camelback Podium. The reason why I'm using the Podium here as my primary water bottle is that it's really easy for me to break it down. Um, I've also got what's called a platypus water bladder, and I'm generally carrying about 2.5 to 3 liters. When I'm going across a desert, I double it to 6 to 8 liters, which is heavy, especially on the bike. 2 liters of water weighs like, I think it's 6 pounds, maybe 5 pounds. So that's quite a bit. Um, my husband's doing all right. He's stressed. He misses me. I'm going to be seeing him in Vancouver uh, in the next 12 days. So I'm really excited about that. Um, he's got some leads and some opportunities, and I've got my fingers crossed because it's going to take him being uh, working for me to be able to continue to go east and continue with Canada. If 2.2 per liter, that sounds about right. So yeah, 4.4 pounds for the 2 liters I've got, and then if you double go up to 6, yeah, it adds up fast, doesn't it? But yeah, I've got an amazing husband because he supports me in my wanderings and all of that. And we've always kind of had the relationship where we could each pursue our passions. And he's always really supported me in this kind of stuff. He was one of my biggest champions on the Pacific Crest Trail. He was my biggest champion and continues to be with my writing. He thinks I'm just an absolutely incredible writer. So he's got some leads. I'm really hoping that they work out. If not, I'm going to stay on Vancouver Island just as absolutely long as I can because they've got Crown land there, and you can camp in one spot on Crown land for up to 2 weeks before you have to move. And so I'm just going to kind of bebop around on VI, and I've got some friends there that I can probably like check in with and crash with when I need to hop off the road. And hopefully that'll let me just keep rolling the dice on, staying in motion until I can hopefully head east. Um, so, like, even if I can't immediately start trekking across the continent, I'm hoping to basically do like a long duration feature with Vancouver Island. And then ultimately, if it gets to the point where it's like, oh, I'm not going to have the time to go west to east, I'm looking at potentially heading up the Alcan Highway. And that might be really interesting because I finally get up north of the Arctic Circle, and I'd be bringing you guys along for all of that. So there's options. Um, my husband is an incredibly gifted programmer and software developer, one of, I think, the very best in the business. And so I'm certain that he's going to find something soon. And just, keep your fingers crossed, guys, as we go forward for that, because he is my biggest supporter in more ways than one. But speaking of support, there is, of course, shameless plug, Trail Hair at Ko-Fi. And on top of all of that, like so many of you, the reason why I bring up donations is not to get you guys to go to the webpage and ship in cash. It's to say thank you, because I have seen your names pop up consistently. They just bought you an alfalfa brick. They just, sent you this much. I have had my bike repaired. I have gotten nights in hotels when I really needed them. I have gotten so much support because you guys showed up out of the kindness of your hearts. And I cannot tell you how much that means to me, because the way that I see this is like I'm out here and I'm chasing my dreams and all of that. And the fact that there are people that believe enough in me to sacrifice. I mean, like, it is, I'm just absolutely floored. I'm just absolutely floored at the kindness and the generosity. And it has made such an impact on me and my life. And I am filled with profound gratitude to all of you, because a lot of you that have donated are here in this room with me right now. Some of my biggest champions are here in this room with me right now. And I'm not just talking about my mom and dad. Lucy, Starflyer, Jeff, I mean, all of you guys. I mean, you guys make a difference. You guys really have made a difference in my life, and I am really and truly grateful. So yeah, we got about 5 minutes now. Just kind of like ringing the bell, letting you guys know. Um, what do you guys think about me doing a live stream in motion, like from the tent? I'm hoping soon to be able to invest in a new camera because my GoPro ate itself in Spain, and that means more long form videos. We've still got a backlog of footage. We've got like 3 or 4 more videos that are going to be coming out in the next couple weeks from the first half of my Europe journey. And then I've got the stuff that I was able to get in Spain and parts of England up to about Zaragoza, which is where my GoPro died. It gets really hot. It says repairing file, it eats its battery, and then it shuts off. That's kind of been what it's been doing, and I cannot get it to function, no matter what I do, no matter how much I reset it. But I'm hoping to get what's called an instant 360 camera, which is kind of cool because not only does it form it like the name, 360 degrees of coverage, so it'll be pointing back towards me and pointing forward on the road. So when I'm talking to you guys, Hippie, my editor, she'll be able to flip to the cockpit view. And then, like, when I'm not talking, you guys can see what I'm seeing. And ultimately, long-term goals are to get what's called a come-along drone. I believe that's what they're calling them. They lock on to the signal from my phone, and then it'll ride above and around me and take like real cinematic shots, and you guys will have a better understanding of terrain. But that's like bucket list, like end of year, like kind of thing. But more things to charge, stuff like that. But I think it's definitely going to be worth it. I've seen some cyclists that have them. They're very noisy, just chasing them. But I think it's going to be awesome for just adding some variety and some scale. Um, but yeah, the instants, like I've seen them, they're pretty affordable, they're accessible, and like the GoPro that I have, unfortunately, I know a lot of people have had amazing luck with them, but I haven't had the best of luck with mine. And so like I'm probably going to be considering my options when I'm in the market for another one. But that's not like me coming down hard on them. It has captured some very beautiful shots. It's been a good camera. So, and it's like 5 or 6 years old. I first had it on the Pacific Crest Trail. So, I mean, technology does not last forever. Nothing does. That's why it's very important to make the most of the moment. Right, guys? So yeah, it's been about an hour and a half. It kind of settling down a little bit. We're up to 7 people though, which to me is very exciting to have everybody here. I'm going to put out one more like this little. Oh, there's hey buddy, how are you? That's one of my buddies from Plymouth that I was telling you guys about. It's great to have you here. We were just talking about potentially like shutting things down, but if you like, I'm here for questions. The live stream is still going on, so like yeah, I just want to make sure that I'm not just monopolizing people's time while I'm rambling on incessantly about stuff. It's been an absolutely incredible hour and a half, an hour and a half. Oh my goodness. But yeah, it's been a great live stream. And so, yeah, one last round for questions or to open this up for a second phase. And then I guess in a couple minutes, we'll go our separate ways unless something really starts hopping. Does that sound good, guys? Let me know in the chat. And until then, more water. I'm still getting this like flow. I've done a little bit of, Twitch streaming, uh, but it didn't really go anywhere, but where I was actually, like, playing video games, and that gave me something to do other than focus on my own awkwardness. I called it hair-raising games. It's been a few years now. I love my hair-related puns, but, it was a good time. I believe I went to Ori and the Blind Forest, which is a very challenging game, but is absolutely beautiful. So, maybe in the future, I've got the laptop with me now. I've got my controller, so that could be fun. But, well, it looks like it's getting pretty quiet out there. So I guess let's see here. My new tarp is supposed to be in today. Yeah, and I'm excited to hear about your adventures out there, as you get out for the season. It sounds like your weather, where you're at is a lot better than my weather here. It was like in the 30s today and raining and cold. There was not a lot of opportunity to get out and ride today, but I'm hoping for tomorrow. Yep, first live stream is down, plenty more to come. So, all right, Groovy Souls. Thank you. Yeah, no, 30 Fahrenheit, 35 Fahrenheit. If it was 30 C, I would be out there riding. That would be nice. That would be like, mid 80s and I'd be warm and all of that. But I want to thank you all for joining me. Please continue to reach out to me. I love hearing from you all. I love the feedback. Thank you for being a part of this amazing journey. Canada's coming up. I will look at scheduling a live stream from Vancouver next, which will just be in 2 to 3 weeks. And we'll go from there. Here today, gone tomorrow, and ever towards the far horizon. So stay rad, Groovy Souls, and thank you so much for joining me on this journey. We'll see you out there.